Hello guys, I'm sitting here with my notebook again at my kitchen table, bringing you another investigation, but I have also went out and done some things in person, so hopefully that will help add to the channel. Uh, I found a story I think y'all are going to really enjoy. This happened in Oklahoma, 1855. Now to kind of set the story, Joshua LaFleur was a half-native, half-French captain of the U.S. Cavalry. His unit was set in Oklahoma, mostly southeast Oklahoma and parts of southern Arkansas, and their main job was to keep the peace in the area. They had been called out on what they were told were a group of bandits that were giving the farmers in the area a lot of trouble. They were stealing crop, vegetables, so forth. Later on, it was found that what they were dealing with were told to them by the farmers were large ape-like, human-like animals that were over 8 feet tall. Pretty much describing Sasquatch, or as some of the people in the area called them, giants, Bigfoot, had been raiding human settlements on southeast Oklahoma and Arkansas for some time, mostly stealing the vegetables from the farmers. Southeast Oklahoma was labeled a hot spot for these creatures during the time. They also had been stealing human children, and that's one of the reasons the cavalry got involved, mostly as they started taking human children and women, and they were eating them. The Choctaw Search Party was organized by Joshua LaFleur. Now, a lot of people are saying, especially the government tried to cover this up, and I dug even deeper to try to prove it. This was a cover-up, and I think we were able to do that. One of the reasons we're able to do that is they try to discredit Joshua LaFleur. But after a lot of investigations, Joshua LaFleur was a true man. He was a true captain of the U.S. Cavalry, and he served with 4 different branches of tribal Indians, along with himself, and as you'll see later, he passed away in 1855, which is when this encounter happened. Remember that, 1855. The hunting party was composed of a large group of men. They were called the Light Horsemen. The largest was what they called Thomas Tubby, and 6 of his sons that were standing over 6 foot tall were in the party. They were called the Light Horsemen. A hunting party started tracking the Bigfoots and found a giant mound of bodies. "19 human children they had kidnapped and had been eating on were piled up inside of the woods area. It was just a big pile of human children that had been feasted from, ate from. Disgusting smell. It also brings, back to some of the videos we've done, as some of the videos we've done, a lot of people were consumed. One of the videos I done, I'm not going to mention names or even the video, just out of respect for the family. I spoke to the father, and in one of the videos where there was a fatality during an attack, one of the kids, I should say, was decapitated and partially consumed. It goes right along with what they're saying they were doing also, which when I read that, it really made me start thinking, because whenever you start talking about people being half consumed, it makes you start thinking of the other cases you're working on, of those people that were consumed. Even the lady that we covered that was found in the ditch, still alive, but partially consumed. And, it just goes to make me believe what we've talked about before, that females and children are more at risk, and then people with disabilities and stuff like that are going to also be at more at risk in the woods. And that's why I always say, use more caution when they're with you. It doesn't mean they shouldn't be able to experience the woods and, what the Lord gave us to go out and enjoy and everything, but we just have to be more cautious and more, of our surroundings, and just keep your head on a swivel is what I always say. They then see the Bigfoots, and they are covered. And the Bigfoot are just, they say, covered in hair. And the bad smell, and this is exactly what they said, quote, their shit and piss was everywhere in the area. It stunk so bad that some of the men threw up. The horses were rearing up. Some of the riders were thrown, which was common, they said, to the horses that would either see Bigfoot or smell his presence. The animals would try to run back home to their stables and try to even leave the soldiers. So what it another thing it would make me think also is, when they have missing children, they say that the dogs don't get a scent, or they don't want to follow the scent, or as up in Maine where the werewolves attacked the home, they thought they were werewolves. The dogs didn't want to go outside, which caused the dogs to show different behavior of cowering and showing that they were afraid. Maybe the dogs do get a scent, but maybe they know what this is and they just don't want to follow it because they don't want no part of it. Let me turn my notebook here. The humans then attack the Bigfoots, and LaFleur empties his revolver at one. But his revolver is useless against this Bigfoot. But you got to remember, this is the black powder days. These guns are not going to have the power that our weapons have today. Still yet, it's probably more than likely a .45 caliber. The Bigfoot then punches and kills LaFleur's horse in one punch. One blow kills the horse. It then slips up behind Mr. LaFleur and pulls his head off, killing him. Another thing that, like I said earlier, one of the cases that I done, it spoke about an incident where I'm not going to say who it was because I was trusted with the information, but it spoke about somebody that was decapitated. So there you go, it pulled his head off. The rest of the Indians opened up with what they were using was .50 caliber Sharps rifles. These rifles were designed to kill buffaloes and were buffalo hunting rifles. Since they had hunted buffalo with these rifles, they knew that these rifles were most useful when striking the head of the large beast. And that's exactly what they done against the large Bigfoot. They shot him in the head. Now the .45-70 back then would not have the power that our guns do today. If it were a .45-70, could have been any .50 caliber, could have been just a regular .50 caliber black powder. Even at that, it would not have the same power as the powder charges we use today, as we have different powders that burn more proficient and can produce higher, PSI and so forth. Two Bigfoots dropped dead. One of the Indians finds the Bigfoot that had killed LaFleur, that is wounded, laying there. He pulls his hunting knife and finishes the Bigfoot with his hunting knife. So that tells you they can even die by a knife. He then decapitates it for good measure. The Indians then bury what's left of their people, which among their dead is estimated from the records that they had kept, as they lost 21 soldiers during the battle. The soldiers were buried. Mr. LaFleur was given a 21 gun salute, and they did not believe that the Bigfoots deserved a burial and were stacked and burned. I found another thing I wanted to share with y'all. I thought y'all would find pretty interesting. I found it pretty interesting while I was searching. Let's see if I can pull it up here for you. It's actually not a notebook this time. Let's see here. This was a record by the United States government that they had sent in to high command, and I just thought it was kind of interesting. I found it while I was investigating. It says, many Indian tribes describe Bigfoot as very aggressive. Stealers of men and women, even children, young women, are apparently taken for mates. Bigfoots would descend on Indian villages with whistles before raining rocks down on the Indians. Whistles. Many Western tribes describe the areas of their territory that were totally off limits, and the Indians refused to go there, for these were the territories of the Bigfoots. These territories were full of game, but the Indians were so terrified that they avoided them like the plague. Why would Indians avoid forage-rich area due to creatures that don't even exist? The Bigfoots were more aggressive against Indians because the Indians did not have good methods for killing them. Power comes from the barrel of a gun, after all. Bigfoots are highly intelligent and appear to have a language of their own. Our guns are very powerful, much more powerful than the Indians' weapons. Bigfoots probably learned to fear and respect us due to our weaponry, and what is why they are much more afraid of us than they are the Indians, and even during the early era of the white settlement of the West. Most animals figure out who the apex predator is and they leave it alone. In North America, humans are the apex predator per excellence. I would imagine that most animals figure this out at some point, or there is some race memory due to genetic selection. For instance, grizzly bears that are highly aggressive are rapidly killed by humans. The surviving bears that pass on genes are the most passive and avoidant ones. There is a precedent for stealing children during times of famine in Africa. Chimpanzees are known to raid human villages, steal human babies, and eat them. So that kind of throws in maybe the part of them being part ape that some people think that they may possibly be part ape, or act in an animal way, or things they may have seen, or maybe even things they mimic. The government tried to say that it was the Vikings. That was what they tried to say to cover all this up, because it seems like since the beginning of time they've tried to cover this up. But I've never known a Viking that could kill a horse in one punch. I never known a Viking to be able to run up to somebody and just pull their head off. Vikings also, I don't think, could take 6 rounds from a handgun and keep coming, even if it were black powder guns back in the day, because there was a lot of other outlaws and lawmen that died from those calibers and didn't seem to have any trouble dying from sometimes one shot. Vikings did not eat human flesh. In fact, it said if they were to catch humans, they would sell them or keep them for their own tribe and people. Now, one of the things that I think gives the story a lot of credibility, you got 4 tribes with the same story passed down, same exact story. The 4 tribes that were there, the 4 tribes have the same stories, okay? The Apaches, the Cherokee, the Choctaw, and the Delaware. All said that they were half human, half ape, over 8 feet. They also said that they were eating the flesh of their children and mating with their women and had been stealing them for some time. So, I mean, that just goes to show you that you have 4 tribes saying the same thing, having the same problems. That's pretty good proof something's going on. So, I mean, they tried to sweep it under the rug like they have everything else. And to me, it's pretty evident, because the Indians, I mean, that's a lot of people, 4 tribes. So I thought y'all would probably, find this one interesting, and I found it very interesting. It's history, and I love history also, but it's also just the fact that, it happened in Oklahoma. They're saying Oklahoma was a hot spot for these things, Arkansas, and then you even go back to like the Folk monster. It came out of Arkansas. You got the the Kiamichi Mountains in Oklahoma. They say are known to have these creatures in there, Bigfoot, Sasquatch. So I mean, it all just goes right with history of how everything works and what we even have here today. So I mean, it just falls right with what I believe is truth. I mean, we all know how they try to cover everything up. We've seen that. They're even attacking my channel right now. But I just wanted to show y'all and give y'all a little bit of information. I thought this story was really awesome. Thank you to everybody that has given to the PayPal account that I've put down in the bottom. I didn't really want to do it because y'all liking it and watching my videos is enough for me, but everybody kept asking me to do it, so I've placed it down there. But again, like I said, your likes and watching it's plenty for me. Had some people telling me about the other channel supposed to be talking down on me for using a notebook and sitting at the kitchen table. That's what all that was about. It doesn't bother me, guys. It's how I've done my research for 18 years, and I went to court on it and won many cases this way, so I must be doing something right. I doubt he's even took a case to court or has a license at all. But I just wanted to share that with you. I appreciate each and every one of you being here and watching and giving your your opinions, your theories, and hopefully we can get another one out to y'all soon. Thank you, and God bless.